Hola clase, vamos a repasar los verbos como que es gustar, que se puede encontrar en la página 58 y 59 en el libro también. You also have the vocab sheet that I gave you. If you look on the second side at the bottom, there is a list of verbs like gustar. So, verbos como gustar. Vamos a repasar gustar primero. Me gusta o me gustan. Te gusta o te gustan. Le gusta. Nos gusta, os gusta y les gusta. El formulario para usarlo es the modifier, which is the indirect object pronoun, the verb, and then the subject. The indirect object and the indirect object pronoun go together, and then the verb and the subject go together. Remember, verbs like gustar are very different than the formation of other verbs. Por ejemplo, a ella le gustan los sábados mucho. A ella va con le. Gustan es plural que va con los sábados. Los sábados es el sujeto. Entonces es plural, entonces gustan es plural. También puedes cambiar la frase. So you can also change the sentence. You can also have los sábados in front. Los sábados is still the subject, which goes with gustan, and then le goes with a ella. Okay? So the thing you're talking about is actually the subject, and it goes with gustan, and the person is the indirect object, which goes with the indirect object pronoun. You can switch around the order in the sentence. It's completely up to you how you would like to do it. You just need to remember that the verbs like gustar is either third person singular or third person plural. El verbo es singular cuando el sujeto es un verbo o un sustantivo singular. Por ejemplo, she is fascinated by playing chess. Playing chess fascinates her. Vamos a usar el vocabulario de lección 2. Entonces, si tienen la lista, deben sacarla también. A ella le fascina jugar al ajedrez. A ella va con le, fascina va con jugar al ajedrez. You need to have a ella in there for the le, because if not, we're not sure who you're talking about. You're talking about he or she or you. The other modifiers, if it's not in the third person, you can put in if you want, but you don't need to do it. You are bored by billiards. Billiards bored you. So again, these are other verbs like gustar. Some of them you might have had in Spanish too, like encantar, fascinar, quizás. So you and I are bored by billiards. Billiards bores you and I. Bores you and I. Again, it doesn't translate directly from Spanish to English, so it's better to just try to think about it in Spanish, how you form it. A ti y a mí nos aburre el billar is one way of saying it. Or el billar nos aburre a ti y a mí. Remember, you cannot say yo with verbs like gustar. You also have to have the a in front of each person that you're talking about with the modifier. A ti y a mí. Y mí tiene un acento. Okay? So make sure you have the accent mark there. Okay, again, a ti and a mí go with nos. It has to agree with nos. And then aburre goes with billar. Also remember that if you have a verb afterwards, like in the first one, it's singular. The only time that the verb is plural is when you have the subject is plural. Other than that, it's singular. El verbo es plural cuando el sujeto es un sustantivo plural. Sustantivo is a noun, right? Sustantivo is a noun. Por ejemplo, you all, Spain, are interested in darts. Darts interest you all. Why don't you do this? Why don't you write this one down on a piece of paper, see if you can do it yourself, pause this video, and then come back and let's see if it's right. Okay, now that you're back, a vosotros os interesan los dardos. A vosotros va con os. Do you really need a vosotros? No, you really don't. If you're really trying to emphasize you all, okay, are interested in darts, you can. Interesan va con los dardos. Okay, the read los dardos es plural. Remember, make sure you write any questions down that you have. Emphasis. Okay, for emphasis, these are the indirect objects or the modifiers. A mí, a ti, a él, a ella, a usted, a nosotros, a vosotros, a ellos, a ellas, a ustedes. The only time you really need these is in the third person right here, because if not, you don't know who you're talking about. Unless you've already been talking about them in the conversation and you know who you're speaking about, you need to have these modifiers. En hay que recordar que tenemos un acento ahí. Okay, quiero que hagan este ejercicio. So you should stop this video now, write these down, the English and the Spanish, and then check your answers. Okay, now that you're back, I worry about studying for the test. If you look at this one, okay, the I is the indirect object. The subject is studying for the test. So the way that you would form this is the I would be me, or you could put a mí. To worry about is preocupar. Studying for the test is estudiar para el examen. So it would be a mí me preocupa estudiar para el examen. Even though in English it's ing, okay, you do not conjugate, you don't have two verbs conjugated right next to each other. That's the problem with translating from English to Spanish. It's the same idea, so you don't conjugate right next to each other. Okay, the consonant is surprising to them. To them is a ellos, no? So a ellos would go with les, surprising. Sorprende el concierto. Vamos a ver. Oops, there's arrows right there. Okay. A ellos goes with les. Sorprende va con el concierto. Juana and I have 2 tickets left. Juana and I, indirect object. Quedar is to have left. And then 2 tickets es el sujeto. Entonces, tenemos a Juana y a mí. You have to have the a in front of both of them. When you have people in the sentence that are not the subject, you have to have an a. Okay, va con nos, quedan, va con boletos, pasajes, billetes. Okay. I get along well with your friends. A mí me caen bien tus amigos. A mí goes with me, caen bien goes with tus amigos. You also learn to get along well with lección 1, which is llevarse bien, llevarse mal. In this sentence, you could also use that as well, but we're trying to use caer bien and caer mal with verbs like gustar. But when you're speaking, either one is fine. Entonces, es todo. Y si tienen preguntas, pueden preguntarme mañana en clase. Buenas noches.